Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a happy Monday and a great start to your week. Today we're going to be diving into Cardano, and like the title of the video says and the thumbnail, we are going to be going over why it is Cardano will rise again. We're going to be showing you technically and also linking it with fundamentally why there's fundamental reasons why we might see a price increase and go on to set new all-time highs. We're going to be very predominantly focused on the Cardano chart on a macro scale. We cannot, of course, leave out Bitcoin, as it is still very much what dictates the direction of this market. And over the past couple of months, I've really had to ask myself a lot of questions. The model that we've been following really to date, and the entirety of crypto has been following, the 4-year cycle theory, which of course is dictated by the halvenings, which you can see here in these green lines. And of course, we do have credence to the fact that cycles are actually lengthening, which is why I believe, one reason I believe Cardano will rise again. This whole market is on the road to recovery. Now, if I think Cardano is going to go on and continue to put in new all-time highs, Bitcoin has to do similar. It has to permission that, the whole space is very, very tethered to Bitcoin. And as we grow as a market, this will become less and less the case. The macro trend for Bitcoin dominance is down. But right now, we're still very tethered. So Bitcoin has to do well in order for the altcoins to flourish. And I think it's going to. I think Bitcoin is already on the road to recovery. So we're going to be talking about that as well. A few things we're going to be going over as we're going to be diving into, we are going to be getting into, and really I want to say this from the outset and throughout, why is it I'm continuing to accumulate cryptocurrencies given all the uncertainty gripping markets right now? And it has a lot to do with this congressional hearing. This was my view on the crypto space before this congressional hearing. Those of you that watch me frequently will know that I'm nothing but bullish on the crypto space. I think this is absolutely a kindred to what took place in the internet, what's taken place in technological revolutions prior to that, like the PCs, even cars, and how we're seeing a bit of growing pains becoming an established market. But we are on that journey. And this congressional hearing very, very accurately summed up what the future looks like for crypto. So let's start, guys. This is a video, like I say, I'm very excited to be delivering. Let's start with the overall crypto space. Doom and gloom today. We're seeing volatility, part of any emerging market, part of such a volatile, speculative market that crypto still is. But ultimately, guys, one thing that I really want to point out is you're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. The calls for a bear market are completely unwarranted. There's a lot of fear mongering going on out there. But ultimately, this is crypto and this is what it does. And we are going to see continuation, in my opinion. We've done plenty of cycle analysis where we've looked at the lengthening cycle theory. We've gone on to fundamental reasons. And the crypto CEOs testifying in front of lawmakers was a huge one, because this shows you where crypto is going. We've gone from being a very speculative, very tethered to the halvening and what that does to Bitcoin's supply, and how an inflationary event must take place after that in terms of the price of Bitcoin must inflate in order to keep miners profitable. But, we're moving from that kind of an environment to one that is now in an actual adoption stage, where we're seeing the adoption kick in. And this is going to raise the floor along with the market cap, etc., etc. So let's relate this all to Cardano. Now, the price of Cardano over the past 3 months, trust me, has been brutal. Many of you are right there with me holding it, but I'm still continuing to accumulate and take this opportunity as what I believe it is going to present itself in the future as a dip to have been bought. Now, why is it that I say this? Well, again, if you look at Cardano, it's just been one continuation pattern. We've got various theories in play, like the Elliott wave theory. We may actually, on a macro kind of Elliott wave theory scale, this potentially could have been your 1 wave, and this could have been your 3 wave, and we could be going on to make that 5th wave. We could have underestimated these waves. I mean, Elliott wave theory, you can map it out in a number of different ways. I've seen plenty of other people do it. But one thing that I really want to point out is we're not in a bear market. We're still set for continuation. What signaled the 2017 bear market? Well, of course, Bitcoin. But really the second, you can see up until this point, you were just putting in higher highs and higher lows, and you invalidated and put in a lower low, and then went on to put in a lower high, and this was the trend that then ensued. You haven't had that to date, ladies and gentlemen. Cardano, since March 2020, which was a freak event, has just continued to blossom. And we've gone on to put higher highs and higher lows in. Still, to this day, we've put in a higher low after a high. So there's no need at all for these people to be coming on here telling you we're entering a bear market when there's not been any confirmation of it. And when you look to the future, bringing up this crypto CEO testimonies, you know, it's a very bright one. And there's something spectacular around the corner for Cardano. Let me just make my face a little bit smaller, which I'm sure many of you will appreciate. You know, there's something spectacular around the corner for Cardano. There's something spectacular around the corner for crypto, full stop. This, in terms of adoption, you are still unbelievably and undeniably early. If this really is the next layer to the internet, Web3, the next technological revolution that's going to impact everybody's life in such a huge and substantial way, boy, oh boy, are you early. And the pessimism in the space is sickening. You guys shouldn't be traders, you should be hodlers, and you'll do very well out of that. If you talk to all of the people who have made serious money within crypto, it's because they got in early and held through these boom and bust, you know, these kind of pullbacks that we have within crypto. So what I want to do, one reason I'm so excited about Cardano is if we look at this structure here, it's very comparable to what took place over here, ladies and gentlemen. And let's say, for example, this was our one wave. This is our two wave. This is our three wave. This is our fourth wave. And we're now going on to that fifth wave. It would make a lot of sense because before you had this run over here, what you saw was a period of long, drawn out consolidation, which is a kindred to what we have over here, before you then put in that final kind of high before entering a larger corrective move. Now, if we look at this corrective move and going back, it goes back to the whole kind of, you've not invalidated any kind of a bull market structure because you've not gone in to put a lower low in. You can see you got very close, but you didn't actually make a lower low. You were marginally higher, and that means that you don't invalidate any structure. And if you look what then took place, I'm sure, and I was here during this time period, people were buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. But what people don't realize is, and it's that kind of meme, what people don't realize is this was the dip, and you go on to put in a lot more gains. And that's where I think we are. You know, when we talk about price, we had, and we still have very high price predictions set for Cardano. We think it's going to get to $7.50 to $10 easily into the future. Yes, we aren't going to end in a 2017 or prior to that 2013-esque fashion, but that doesn't mean we're not going to see those prices. Do I think Cardano can get to where Ethereum is today in terms of market cap? Absolutely, I do. I think when you really think about the fact that we're still early in every aspect, I mean, Cardano doesn't even have smart contracts yet, and that is a massive fundamental bullish reason for continuation. And we've gone into why DeFi is so bullish, why it utilizes the underlying token, it locks it up. And we already know that Cardano, 72% of it is staked according to ADA pools. So there's a real vote of confidence that ADA has. So back to what we're talking about, I think this structure over here is a kindred to this one here. You can see where you start the move. You come back, you continue to downtrend before basing out, finding your bottom and seeing continuation. And if you look, you don't invalidate, you get very close to it, but you don't actually invalidate any of these lows. And you actually go on to put in a higher low and then a higher high and see continuation. And that's where we are today, ladies and gentlemen. Here is where we are today, guys. We've seen a big impulsive move. And guess what actually took place in this time period? A hard fork. And we always see a run up and then a period of consolidation and cooling off and downtrend after a hard fork. You had the Alonzo hard fork here. You've seen the consolidation from that. And there's been an absolute FUD storm surrounding ADA. Ultimately, the majority of people that I see getting shaken around at the moment within markets are people that are new to the space. Cardano has a long, prosperous future. If this really is what many of the crypto CEOs testified to Congress and the lawmakers and the Senate, you know, this is huge. You guys are the early adopters in a technology that is going to change the world. This has been the belief that we've had since the start of the channel. And if you look at, you know, we talk about, okay, well, we've not actually maybe followed the, where's my chart? Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, in the sense that we've not ended in a kind of parabolic blow off. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see that. It just means it comes later on. What you're looking at with crypto is adoption. There's absolute credence for the lengthening cycle theory. These bar patterns that I have here are price cycles, and they do indeed lengthen and go down in regards to ROI due to the law of diminishing returns. So there is so much going on. There's so much at play, and people get very bugged out and pessimistic when they see the price go down like this. And I understand it. You know, Cardano is essentially, you know, 61% down. Over here, I think it was only 51%, 51% to the downside. But ultimately, it went on to rise again. And we see, you know, this is a common trait. I mean, even if you look at this over here, you can see this was your low. This was the low that you put in before you impulsed. It came very close to the prior one and was marginally higher, but was still a higher low to the previous. And we're here today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, Bitcoin has to recover for Cardano to do well. That's just how it is. The entire space, you know, Bitcoin's where the big money is at the moment. And when they want to shake around, everybody gets affected by it. And there's a lot of uncertainty, and we've been giving daily market updates. There's a lot of uncertainty in markets, full stop, you know, with all the new variants, with Jerome Powell and some of his statements. So markets act accordingly, and people on a global financial level will risk off risky assets. And crypto is still risky. It's still a new kid on the block. It's still yet to establish itself and really signal where its place is in the world. But one thing that we said to you, since you made this wick and we saw this kind of, the wick was fantastic and very encouraging, but the recovery from this, the candle closes, wasn't. And we said it's very likely, and those of you who watch me daily will be able to attest to this, that you consolidate in this area. Now, Bitcoin has to recover for the crypto space to do so, and I think it will. And I think just like we've looked at Cardano over here, and essentially what I'll do very quickly, I'll find the bar pattern that I have for you, that I've actually overlaid this structure over here in terms of bar pattern to where you are today. Very, very applicable, if you ask me, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I think you're yet to see. I think potentially on the outside we come and we form some form of a cup and handle, but we see that continuation. There's no need for the pessimism in this space. If we look at the indicators, the RSI, etc., we're in typically oversold territory, and I think we are. And I think as we start to see DeFi turning on, the price is going to go with it to the upside, in my opinion. So back to Bitcoin. I think what we had here, this slam down, this freak event where we saw the world shut down essentially. And then, of course, we saw a lot of inflation ensue to stimulate the economy. And this is why Bitcoin's had such a good run. We've covered this plenty of times. But you also saw something here. You see a slam down, and then you start your recovery. You come up, and you put in this here. Can you see this over here, ladies and gentlemen? You set up structure before impulsing and going on to make a new high and selling off. You set up structure, you impulse, you come back and almost retrace that entire move to the upside before you then kind of consolidate. And I think you're in this consolidation stage over here, guys, for crypto. And we've still got, adoption to come. I'm anything but bearish on crypto. You know, I'm so bullish on this technology. I'm so bullish on the cryptos within them. I think it would be a shame if people get thrown to the wayside. I think you've got to be vigilant. You've got to absolutely understand what you're investing in. And really, I do genuinely think, just like we squeeze to the upside from this structure over here, you're doing a similar thing today, ladies and gentlemen, where you're squeezing up and you're going to see this move in a positive direction. You know, we're still to even have any kind of legal clarity necessarily on crypto. We're still to have it adopted by some of the big players that we see in traditional finance, and they are coming. The reason that they're going to come into this space first of all, inflation's a huge issue, and Bitcoin has been the right choice in relation to that. But second of all, these big companies are going to go for yield. Just like we see BlackRock buying Evergrande bonds to hunt for yield and having to go further and further afield, they're not going to have any issue with jumping into crypto, providing that it's regulated, and they're not going to get penalized for doing so, due to the fact that it's going to offer a greater yield than some of the traditional financial instruments that we have in play. So I'm exceptionally excited. I think the future is an extremely bright one. I think this structure over here, and please go to your charts and look at it, is very kindred to what we're currently going through. We are going to bottom out, and we are going to see continuation. I'm confident of that. And now you guys make your own decisions, but I'm still accumulating crypto. I'm still taking advantage of these pullbacks when they come. And that's ultimately because I believe in the future. And that certainly something like Cardano has a long life ahead of it. So that's really the bulk of what I have for you in this video. This was a video I was very excited to deliver, certainly in times of such pessimism, because I'm right here with you through these pullbacks. It's been brutal, it's been drawn out, but ultimately the tide will turn. And we see this time and time again with crypto, just like that. We change our course and we start to see uptick. And it's still very driven by whales at the moment. So that, like I say, is really all I have for you. There is a link to our Discord in the description. Feel free to go ahead and join us in there. Also, we do have the stake pool. ALLIN is the ticker. We're gaining delegators daily, and we are minting blocks frequently. So if you guys want to join us, head over on your Euro Deadless and find the ALLIN pool. We'd love to have you, and hit the link in the description for the Discord, so that you can be in a community with like-minded individuals like myself, and there's many of us out there. So that's really all. Hang in there, guys. I know that the market action is brutal, but I do believe you will be rewarded. If you can't hold at these prices, you don't really deserve to hold at the higher ones. I made money in crypto via holding through the bear market. Not buying in the bull market. When the price was going down and doing this was ultimately where my money was made. And that applies to a macro and a micro scale, ladies and gentlemen. You should buy on pullbacks, not cry on them, and etc, etc. All I have for you, have a fantastic Monday, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video.